So, Travis, thanks for your time today. This isn't a typical interview. What I'm really looking for here is not the polished version of your story. I think what I'm interested in everybody else is in the reality of building a company right now, what's working, what's not, where the system either helps or gets in the way. We're going to start with a 10-minute overview of your company in your own words and get a better understanding about how we think about building companies in Canada going forward. So, without further ado, I'll hand it over to you.
Thank you. And thanks for all the work you do in the entrepreneurial community in Nova Scotia and beyond. We're lucky to have people like you here in this province, that's for sure.
Thanks, Travis.
But yeah, as you mentioned, so my name is Travis McDonough, CEO and founder of a company called Wellnify. And Wellnify is a hybrid of two words, part wellness, part gamification, and AI will double click on later in the presentation. But at the end of the day, what we do is help to create healthier and happier communities. And we do that by leveraging an AI-driven digital ecosystem that we proudly call a community wellness engagement platform. And I think what we're doing, Peter, that's quite unique is we're kind of combining this emerging science of behavior change that everyone's talking about right now with the fun of gaming or gamification to really reinvent the way that bottom-up grassroots wellness programs are being delivered right now across the country. There's a saying that we've wholeheartedly embraced, and that is that the time is now to start investing in building stronger fences at the top of a cliff rather than more ambulances at the bottom. And thankfully, we're not the only ones who believe this. Leading healthcare economists and epidemiologists feel like we're in the middle of a $1 trillion shift away from just primary and acute care, again, more to positively influencing people upstream. And so it feels sort of like we are where the puck is going. And at the highest level, the conversation we're having with people in the federal government is that healthcare in this country, while it's not free, it's freely accessible. And yet wellness resides behind a paywall for the people who can afford an Apple Watch or a trip to the spa. And we are working hand in hand with them to remove that firewall to provide democratized access to preventative wellness tools to really give people agency over their health destiny. And at the federal level, again, we're working to really help support three mandates. One, to create healthier and happier citizens. And thanks to the data that we've gestated, we're already able to prove the impact that it's having on outcomes. Two, inside the platform in a non-over-solicitorial way, promote local companies in whichever country you're in. And third of all, that we're in the middle of doing, it's around a couple corners, but what was once on the edge of conceivability is now in striking distance, and that is we are all about allowing for the Canadian taxpayer to put money back in their pockets if they hit certain wellness thresholds. Reduced prices to groceries, free digital bus passes and public transportation, free gym memberships, and those types of things. So three very exciting things that we're working on manifesting here in this country and beyond. Our team, I won't go into it, but we've come from a long history of working in the health, wellness, and human performance industries. We met previously at a company that we started, we scaled, and we sold that still stands today as Nova Scotia's largest tech exit. And immediately after the sale, we knew we wanted to bring the band back together and really take what we used to do for the LeBron Jameses and Tom Brady's, and we wanted to colloquialize it, we wanted to productize it, and above all, we wanted to democratize it and make these wellness tools accessible to everybody. So we are now chasing this more scalable and noble mission of creating healthier and happier communities. Won't go into our athlete investors because they continue to grow, it seems like, on a monthly basis, but more and beyond the checks that these folks have written, they're active evangelists in what we're doing. They'll join calls, they'll open doors, and again, they're great people to have along the syndicate of strategic investors that we have. And speaking of mission, really what we're trying to do is allow people in a community to fall in love with the joys of healthy behaviors to ultimately convert them into becoming a lifetime participant of wellness. There's a saying in the wellness space that you don't choose your future, you choose your habits, and it's your habits that are really the silent engineers of your future. And we believe we're in the business of helping people sort of colonize these healthy habits to give them dominion over their health and wellness. The problems are very readily apparent for anybody right now. Skyrocketing chronic diseases, unsustainable healthcare costs, a disconnected sense of community is a huge one. A 10 million shortfall of healthcare professionals. It's time to hit the 911 alarm bell. And we say a statement, it sounds graphic, but we feel like the Band-Aid needs to be ripped off. And that is, we're convinced we're witnessing the world's largest self-inflicted serial killing in the annals of humankind. It's extinction level behaviors right now that we're exhibiting. Now, thankfully, we do know what some of the causes are. First of all, it's sitting, sedentary behavior. They say sitting is the new smoking. Second of all, it's the phone and this thing that's hijacking a lot of our wellness behaviors. But what we are trying to do at Wellnify is flip the tables and take something that's historically been responsible for lethargy and turn it into an agent of change. It's unrealistic to think that people are not going to use their phones. So we want to use it as a conduit to behavior change while they're using their phones. And the last one is outdated education and knowledge transfer models as it relates to wellness information. 98% of wellness content in this country, in most country, resides in a PDF that reeks of yesterday, or it sits 6 clicks deep in a website that nobody even knows that it exists. So what we do at Wellnify, we've created this highly configurable digital ecosystem that creates more of a pull rather than a push. And this is where we redirect some of the sticky and addictive features of gaming towards these healthy habit formations. But at the end of the day, we connect an organization like a government, like a corporation, like an indigenous community, like a specific segment of the population to their end community members through this digital ecosystem, again, that leverages the science of behavior change and the fun of gamification. How it works at the highest level, technically, we have a back end, think of it as the control center, and the control center allows us to configure very customized and specific environments for different go-to-market wellness partners. So we have about 80 different tools and features that you can turn on or off. And we have the ability to pollinate people's content, almost like we can take the furniture and wallpaper of one group and put in another and really configure it in a matter of hours and days at maximum as opposed to months or years. And after we've configured the ecosystem, we create a unique QR code, and that allows the community or the population to enter the app where we engage users underneath 4 wellness categories: body, mind, spirit, and our new category called community. And underneath each one, we have a plethora of gamification features. Each day the user logs in and they have a small to-do underneath each of the 4 respective wellness categories. For example, under the body or the move category, we've developed about 150 augmented reality movements that through proprietary algorithms that we built, the phone recognizes your movement with about 98% accuracy, converts it to a live rep counter, and then a live leaderboard. It's literally like a video game experience when you're doing physical activity. But that's just the start. We have a ton, about 2,000 digital assets of workout programs and plans. And we also have all kinds of high-end technology gamification around step counting. So you and I could challenge 2 other people who could walk from Halifax to Toronto the fastest, earning badges along the way. So a really neat way to gamify movement. Under the mind category, we know knowledge transfer is paramount to developing healthy habits. So we've gamified knowledge transfer. Underneath this category, there's usually a 30-second to 2-minute digital vignette. And after somebody watches it, a little quiz or trivia pops up. And if they answer it correctly, they earn more digital currency in the app. So it's a way to have fun by transferring knowledge. We have a spirit category, and this is where our mindfulness minutes, our meditation content and programming are. We have nature sounds that you can listen to, even a grateful journal. Again, little small, quick things that you can do to round out your wellness. But the new category that we're most enthusiastic about is called the community category. Why did we add it? We've been around the world, Peter, to study and investigate what makes the healthiest cultures thrive. Places like the Blue Zones, the Amish, and many others. And the common denominator has been shown that it's less that these communities have access to a 24-hour fitness center and more that they prioritize serving other people in their community. So we are gamifying and creating intentionality around pay it forward actions at the community level. Pick up a piece of litter, earn points for your community. Sign up to be a blood donor, an organ donor. Send a positive message. Buy a local product and take a picture of it. All of these things earn you points and the community that you're a part of. This allows you to form connective tissue with the people in your neighborhood and beyond. And it's our way to take economies and bring them back to being communities in the way that they were supposed to be. We have a really malleable challenge engine, so you can set daily, weekly, monthly challenges. It could be an augmented reality challenge, but it could be a step count challenge. It could be a blood donor challenge or a pickup litter challenge, but a neat way to unify the collective attention and focus of a population towards a common North Star, and they benefit by getting healthier in the process. We have a proprietary rewards engine, so we can set a threshold on behalf of a population. If they hit it, they're earning discounts to certain things. Again, I mentioned groceries, free digital bus passes, complimentary gym memberships, these types of things. So great way to incentivize people in communities for hitting certain behaviors and wellness thresholds. Leaderboards are basic blocking and tackling. You don't have to join a leaderboard. You have the remote control in your hand. If you don't want to join, you can join as a group, and there's a lot of fun in those group leaderboards. Two algorithms that I want to bring to your attention because it's great IP for us, and we really are excited about these two. One is called the Personal Wellness Score, which is essentially a snapshot, a score out of 100 that gives you an indication on where you are on your wellness journey. And I want to point out it's less about how many push-ups you can do or performance, but it's more about consistent actions. And way more importantly, we're aggregating everyone's personal wellness score into an overarching proxy to represent a population called a community wellness score, which should help to illuminate blind spots on behalf of corporations, on behalf of municipalities and governments, really to unearth disparities between one group and another group. Why does this population walk 2,500 extra steps compared to that? Why is that? And the ability to understand and really evaluate those implications, we feel are going to drive new social programming and policy. Won't go into detail on how we can promote local companies, but the concept here is that this week's challenge is brought to you by a particular product. If you hit the threshold, you earn the badge brought to you by the product, and that allows you to get discounts that you benefit from, the company benefit from, everyone benefits. So really neat way to support local companies as well. We're proudly well supported here in Nova Scotia. We've gone from 3 to 9 communities right now, the goal of which is to scale this out to all 49 municipalities. We've done pilots and really we're able to measure the impact the platform is having on needle moving behaviors around step counting, movement minutes, connectedness to communities, those types of things. So really great opportunity to have some meaningful impact here in our backyard. We also are deployed in 7 Indigenous communities, a great opportunity to engage populations here on wellness behaviors, and a great opportunity to scale this across the country. So great, getting some fantastic metrics on health outcomes here. We've just launched a menopause platform with Dr. Maria Migas, who is a world-renowned menopause leader. This is a grotesquely underserved market, and our early data is exceptionally positive and encouraging, and we really feel that this is a very scalable way to positively impact, again, this underserved community. We are also embedded in senior communities and have some very exciting contracts and opportunities to scale in sort of that over 60 age group. And believe it or not, this is one of the populations that use technology the most. So very encouraging. We've also partnered with the nation's leading organization whose mandate is to get Canadians moving. They've got a great track record, a great body of research, and they're going to be great partners as far as content, as far as research, as far as marketing. And finally, we're really excited that we have our first large, truly democratized population in North America through the state of Texas. We recently signed the contract with a group called the Healthier Texas Foundation. They've rolled this out to 3,200 communities, which includes school boards, municipalities, cities, towns, districts, and a whole plethora of corporations. So really, this is hopes to be the first of many south of the border. And we hope that the many provinces follow this, this very impactful use case.
So in Texas, 3,200 communities, which is amazing. That's the big inflection point for you folks. How many people does that represent that your technology will be touching in one way or another?
Well, I mean, the goal over the course of the next 12 months is that it's hundreds of thousands, right? It's each day we see the numbers continue to go up. And with more data, with more people, with more users comes more feedback. What's great about that in real time, we can tweak the dials, mold the putty,
Mhm.
adjust certain features and functionalities, but it's also just a great way for us to measure the impact it's going to have on the population. What has it done to reduce, hospital admissions? What has it done to reduce GP visits? What has it done to just increase step counting? Activity minutes, all of these types of things. So it's a broad swath of users and populations and data.
So you guys are just living in the data right now, seeing, constant experiments, the Amazon story, how they do, whatever, 2,500 experiments a day sort of thing to see what works in terms of, moving product and so forth. You guys are looking at the data to say, hey, what's resonating, what's getting people out there and getting them active, and able to make
Absolutely.
quick tweaks to the platform.
Yeah, I think in the early days, you have to really lean into what tools and features you think people are going to want. So you
Absolutely.
create a myriad of them, but over time, you have to listen to the feedback. And the more feedback that comes up, it's like, look, people aren't using this. Let's get it off the screen. Where, hey,
Mhm.
people are really using this. How do we make it more omnipresent for the user? And those are all things that are critical with our go forward plan. Like we almost consider ourselves in many ways acting like a pharmaceutical company too, because rather than chasing deals right now, we're trying to prove the measurable impact of the platform that it
Mhm.
has on behaviors and populations. Because if we can do that, which we're well beyond halfway doing, then there's no rate limiting enzyme. Then we want to be able to prove that the platform costs you more to not use than use. And, I think that's the inflection point of significant scale.
Amazing. Amazing. So uh, what parts of your business do you find right now, are working better than expected, and what are the hardest parts, kind of a two-parter.
Ooh. I mean, as a founder and CEO, you always want everything to go better. But I think that
Sure.
I think one thing that is definitely happening is that the mission and the vision is deeply resonating with folks all over from all four corners of the globe. Everyone that you present the concept of democratizing wellness to goes, why hasn't this happened before? And the more and more they learn about it, the more and more they're like, this is what the world needs. So I think the vision, the mission is being wholeheartedly embraced. And that normally takes a long time when you're trying to create a new category. And
Absolutely.
that's what we're trying to do. Like, this isn't a category that exists. So we're sort of in the jungle with the machete trying to create the path. And I think that um, that the whole company is doing a great job at getting the message out there, and it's being warmly and wholeheartedly embraced by people all over. So I think that's the one thing.
In terms of raising capital, you guys have raised capital. The assumption will be obviously that you're going to probably at some point raise more. What's that process for founders that are out there who are doing it or currently struggling with that? Talk to me about that process for you. What's that been like? You have some famous investors on your cap table. You mentioned a couple of them: Connor McDavid, Mitch Marner, Jason Tatum. I think a lot of times folks point to that and immediately say, wow, this company, look who they've got on their board. They must be killing it. How has the raising capital been for this company? Particularly, that you have a big success behind you with Conduct's exit. So you're a proven commodity. How's that capital raising been aside from all of that?
Look, I won't lie, I'm not going to deny it hasn't been easy. It's been more difficult than any time in my sort of 13 years
Mhm.
in the technology startup world. And I think that as a result of me spilling a lot of blood and energy and time and focus going after any VC in the market, we've sort of taken a step back and become very, very strategic on who we want to have at the table. And I think that it's actually started to really pay off. Just yesterday, we had a commitment from a go-to-market partner for us that can dramatically move the needle on the business. And I think that spending more time trying to identify strategics who have a vested interest in the business is something that I'm going to do more of and double down on. And I
Mhm.
think it's also self compounds because now that we have this hugely strategic investor, it feels like some of the others that have been on, kind of the waiting deck will likely jump in now as a result of bringing that strategic in. So it's not easy. And I know from speaking with others, it's a very, very difficult time. There's money out there, but people just are conservative, they're risk adverse. There's a lot of unknowns in the economy right now. So it's got to be a very compelling use case. It's both storytelling and spreadsheet driven, where before
Mhm.
it could have just been one or the other. Now you got to have both.
Would this company be easier to build somewhere else?
You know what? That's a great question. And I'd say in the early stages of building a company, no, Canada is a great place because there are some tremendous grant opportunities. I think of the incredible work that ACOA and the support that they've given us.
Absolutely.
Look, I can't say enough good things about them, but of course, IRAP, who've been hugely supportive. And so I think in order to get the boat in the water and to get the product going, it's so incredibly valuable, and Canada's a great place to do it. I think even when you get to the next phase, which is pilots, we're a country of pilots. I think where it sort of breaks down is when you go from pilot to an onboard ramp to commercialization. That's where the wheels fall off, and that's where we need to do a better job. So I think as you get to that stage of a company, you have to have a plan internationally. You need to be able to sell south of the border despite the current friction, and you need to be able to sell globally.